I have been here for 1.2 million years. I rose up out of the ocean, pushed by the land, a monument of fire and ice. I have lingered in the background of many a story, and from up here, I've watched the world change. I have seen the ice crack, melt, vanish, and then refreeze again in an endless cycle. The oceans have roared at my feet, and the winds have howled. And then there has been complete silence, an eerie stillness that only I know. Explorers have come and gone, driven by ambition and curiosity. I have witnessed their triumphs, their falls, and some I have watched as they rested at my feet. Their stories are preserved by the ice, but some of them never returned home. The wildlife around me shifts with the seasons, a constant reminder of resilience as they journey across the frozen expanse. Forever adapting, always enduring, just as I have, standing through the ages. And now you too are part of my story. A fleeting moment in my life, but one that will stay with you long after you're gone. I hope one day you will return, but for now I remain here. Watching, waiting, listening, my fire's still burning. I will care for the piece of your heart that you left behind at the bottom of the world, on the white continent with me, Mount Erebus.
My name's John Furman, and I'm the Discovery Leader on board Scenic Eclipse 2. And we have just departed on our third voyage of the season to Antarctica. We are heading south to the Ross Sea. We depart from Lyttelton, a vibrant town on the Banks Peninsula here in New Zealand, where a natural harbour formed millions of years ago as a result of volcanic activity. As we pull away from shore, a sense of excitement starts to fill the air for the adventure ahead. The Ross Sea really is unlike anywhere else on Earth, but like the explorers who came before us, we're navigating the treacherous seas of the Southern Ocean, and we're ready to venture into the unknown, eager to uncover the wonders of Antarctica. The White Continent awaits us.
Every year, heading down south to Antarctica, it's just an incredible excitement. I'm Erwan Rozik and I'm the captain of Scenic Eclipse 2. Yes, so the Southern Ocean are famous for being some of the most challenging oceans in the world. And one of the main reasons is that there is no land to stop the systems to roll around the Antarctic continent. And well, some of these systems are sometimes so big that it's impossible to avoid. So as we have a long journey from New Zealand down south to Antarctica, well, we may encounter some bigger waves and some bigger systems. And that's exactly what happened for us. And it's quite amazing, in fact. People love it. They see the ocean like they've never seen it before. And also you have the fantastic wildlife with the albatrosses flying around these huge swells. And then as we come closer, to the continent, and we pass the Antarctic Circle and we come closer to the South Pole. There we'll find much calmer systems, and some iceberg will start to pop up, and we're going to start to feel also the cold waters and the complete different aspect of the Southern Ocean as we are coming closer to the Antarctic continent. Well, it's looking good, huh? We're going to find a bit of a shelter there where it's a little less windy for the operations of today, and there is a good ice there. We found Antarctica again.
End of road.
No surprises.
We have arrived at Kuhlman Island. It's our first stop here in Antarctica, and the cliffs are looking spectacular. And we're just moving around the ice at the moment to get to the southern end of the island to get a bit of shelter, and the plan is to Zodiac cruise down there. South we saw a few icebergs, we saw scattered bits of ice in the water, but this is the first time that we're starting to see a good consolidated belt of sea ice, which is still moving with the currents here in this part of the Ross Sea, and it's going to be a lot of fun to explore that with the ship as well as with the Zodiacs. And visiting a new place like this is what these discovery trips are all about.
My name is Vicky Heaney. I'm the ornithologist or bird lady on board Scenic Eclipse 2. We're making our way through the ice around Kuhlman Island. We're going slowly because the bridge needs to be careful to navigate through the bigger flows, but that gives us the opportunity to check those flows for wildlife, and we have just been lucky enough to see an emperor penguin. The emperor penguin, he was with a little friend, so there was a little deli next to the emperor, which gave us a real great opportunity to see how big that penguin was. I've been coming down to Antarctica for 8 seasons now, and it's very rarely we get such a good view of an emperor penguin.
We've been so fortunate to have amazing conditions to allow us to go Zodiac cruising in some of the most remote islands in Antarctica. Hey, I'm Olive Andrews, a marine mammal biologist and lecturer here at Scenic Eclipse 2. So we're now deep in the Ross Sea. We're at Beaufort Island. Here, this is the site of several large Adelie penguin colonies. So we've had the opportunity to get in the Zodiacs and experience the wildlife from a really safe distance and watch the penguins do their natural behaviours, which has been extraordinary. The Adelie penguin colony here is amazing. We've got quite mature chicks, and those chicks are running after their parents, harassing them for food. We're seeing animals getting in and out of the water, preening themselves in the water. It's been just magic encountering the Adelie penguins here in the Ross Sea.
So we're continuing to sail and cruise further south, and so after our 2 stops yesterday, we sailed overnight in McMurdo Sound. So this is the most western side of the Ross Sea, but also the most southern part of the Ross Sea, and we're going to stay in the McMurdo Sound for the next few days. And today is a big moment for us because we are heading towards Cape Royds. This is one of the first of our historic stop, visit of a hut, a landing, and then to step ashore. A big day for everyone today here.
Hello folks, welcome to Cape Royds. We are here at Cape Royds on Ross Island, and this is the site of Shackleton's hut from the Nimrod expedition. We've managed to find a way onto the beach, It's quite icy all around us, but there's a good landing site and we are able to visit the hut here that was used by Shackleton and his men. And we've also got a little colony of Adelie penguins nearby to look at as well. This is Scenic's first ever time at Cape Royds, and it's my first ever time at Cape Royds as well. And it's a real treat to be able to visit these kinds of historic sites that are so heavy in meaning and history for the expeditions that were trying to explore this part of Antarctica more than 100 years ago.
I'm Gerard Baker, I'm the historian on Scenic Eclipse 2. So we've come here today to the Nimrod hut at Cape Royds, to probably one of the most historic huts across the whole of Antarctica, but significant particularly here on Ross Island. This was Sir Ernest Shackleton's first solo expedition. He didn't, of course, come on his own. He brought in here 15 men would have slept in this pretty tiny, snug hut. From here, the men made a first ascent of Mount Erebus, the volcano that dominates the landscape on Ross Island. It really is in the back of every view you make. So the final and most important trip for me of that expedition was where Shackleton led a trip to the geographic South Pole. He didn't quite make it, but it was oh so close. 88 miles to go. He decided to turn around and save the lives of his men and himself. Just turning the key and opening the door of a hut like this is pure magic. Feels like, well, we are walking into a time capsule, aren't we? But the smell, the wood of the hut, the slight smell from the stove, the socks that are hanging all around us really imbue us with a sense of history that's like nowhere else on the planet. Isn't it incredible?
Hi, I'm Chris Guzzo. I'm the lead submersible pilot here on the Scenic Eclipse 2. We're here in the submersible garage. We're just about to launch the sub into the water here at Cape Royds for the very first submersible dives ever here with guests. So it's very, very exciting to get down there. We have no idea what we're going to see. And that's most of the excitement that we get as being a pilot going to somewhere new like this.
Fantastic.
Hatch closed.
Hatch closed and just sit in the cubby.
All right, enjoy everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Usually in Antarctica, actually, the invertebrates are king. So anemones, sponges, stars, urchins. If we get lucky, maybe we'll see some ice fish or some octopus down there. Generally lots of different colors and whatnot. If you can tell right now, but I'm always excited, especially when we're going somewhere brand new that we haven't been before. And the fact that we're the first people to ever do it here is really exciting.
We are here in the McMurdo Dry Valleys in Victoria Land. We are in the Transantarctic Mountains, and earlier this morning we were very unsure if we were going to make it here. There were strong gusty winds at the ship and it was touch and go for the helicopter operations, but luckily we managed to get a scout helicopter in the air, and we found that conditions in the valleys were actually much better than we expected. And it goes to show that in really dynamic areas like this, sometimes you just have to go and see.
My name's Sam Edwards, and I am the glaciology and geology lecturer on board Scenic Eclipse 2. So right now I'm standing in the middle of Taylor Valley, and there's a lot of things that make this truly one of the most unique places on our planet. This is one of the 2 driest places on Earth. It's also the largest area in Antarctica that's not buried by ice, so you can actually see the rocks here. And that's because not only is it so dry, but the mountains themselves are keeping out the East Antarctic ice sheet like a massive dam. And this is, of anywhere in the world, this is really the closest we have to standing on Mars. This is where NASA has done a lot of the research for the conditions that a Martian rover would have to face on that planet. And it's also an interesting analog for Mars in that if there are bacteria and things like that could live here, it's theoretically possible they could be on the red planet as well. This is also one of the oldest landscapes on our planet. There have been periodic advances where the Canada Glacier would come further out, and at other times you would have the Ross Ice Shelf growing and coming up the valley, and that's where a lot of the rocks we're standing on came from. But by and large, this has been an extreme polar desert for a long, long time, about 10 million years.
So we are just making history today. We did the Dry Valley for our guests with our helicopters, helicopter pilot. Everyone was involved today. It was excellent. And now we are going south, down as close as possible to the Ross Ice Shelf to celebrate the most southern position of Scenic Eclipse 2 ever, which is 7751.5 right now, and we're going to celebrate that with all our guests on the forward bow. It's minus 11 degrees here in the Ross Sea, a little bit of a breeze. It's typical Antarctica weather, so it's an interesting experience, and it's a big moment today. So let's celebrate that together.
My name's Alice Forrest and I'm the Assistant Discovery Leader here on Scenic Eclipse 2. So we're here in Lewis Bay on the north end of Ross Island, and Captain and Staff Captain have just gifted us the most incredible ship cruise, weaving around through these gigantic tabular icebergs and along one of the most beautiful glacier fronts that's carving down into the ocean. The tabular bergs that we've seen this morning have actually likely carved off the Ross Ice Shelf, and they are absolutely gigantic, and you really only see them down here in the Southern Ocean.
Today we are arriving at Cape Evans. What is spectacular is that we have a perfect blue sky. The water is calm and the beach is open, but the landing site looks clear, so it would be super cool to do the two most important historic sites with Cape Royds a few days ago, and today Cape Evans. And Scott's Hut will be a pretty big achievement.
So in just 2 trips, we've been able to return twice to Scott's Terra Nova hut. And you know, opening the door and walking in, you get the smell, the scent of the blubber, the dogs, the socks hanging in the ceiling. And I guess it's really as if they just walked out yesterday. The table in here with their water canister, this is for the men, the petty officers like Tom Crean and Edgar Evans. But here, segregated by this wall of cocoa powder, you've got the geologists, the scientists' quarter here, and some of the bunks that would have been empty for that second winter when Oates and Bowers, Scott and Wilson and Edgar Evans didn't return from the pole. Passing Ponting's dark room here, which indeed is dark, we find Scott's bunk, abandoned for that second winter, his hot water bottle and his Finesco just alongside his bunk here, next to Wilson and Petty Officer Evans. You know, it is emotional coming here. I never fail to well up actually, because just the thought of the conversations that would have happened when the Polar Party didn't return, and the privilege of sharing the stories here, the memories, the recollections, the diaries of the men with the guests for the ship. And it will take quite a while for us all to digest what we've experienced today, and that's why it's such a privilege to be able to share my passion for the history of what happened here with the guests of Scenic Eclipse.
We are here at the incredible Erebus Ice Tongue. We've been blessed with the most magical day, perfect weather. Mount Erebus is just gently steaming here behind me, and it just feels like we're in a dream. So here we've got Mount Erebus behind me, the Erebus Glacier flowing out to create the Erebus Ice Tongue. So this is all actually floating on the water, this ice behind me, and it creates this incredible landscape with all these beautiful caves with glistening ice crystals. We've got seals and penguins resting on the ice. It's just a very magical place to be exploring on this sunny afternoon.
So we are on deck 8, which is our heli deck, and we are just setting up to do our classical crossover heli deck concert for all the guests with Mount Erebus in the background.
It's very exciting. It's definitely the coldest place I've ever performed, but there are some whales nearby, and this might be the first time we've ever heard some of these songs, so that'll be nice for them.
It's a beautiful day, and we just really hope all the guests really enjoy it.
I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. She don't really care for music, do ya? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall and the major lift. The baffled king composing hallelujah.
Yesterday we said goodbye to the Ross Sea and Mount Erebus. Today we're heading north and we're at Cape Adare. We're here at Cape Adare, one of the largest, if not the largest, Adelie penguin rookery in the world. And it's quite a fantastic place. The interesting thing though is a lot of the penguins are gone. What's happened in the last week or so, it's been fledging. So we're seeing skuas, we're seeing giant petrels, we're seeing leopard seals in the water. They have had an absolute bonanza feeding on those young chicks, making their first foray into the water, into the outer world. This colony holds as many as 500,000 pairs of penguin, Adelie penguin. They're not all gone, so there's still a few stragglers. Some of the younger penguins that maybe weren't quite big enough to fledge are still hanging on here. And there's molting penguins. So at the end of their season, the adults that have finished their breeding attempt are now molting their feathers, ready for the winter. This is an amazing place to get to. It's so few people manage to get here because it's very exposed. There's always swell. We've got a little pocket of weather that was just allowed us to do this fantastic Zodiac cruise, but we can see that multi-year ice bashing up on the beach and the swell bringing it in.
We are well on our way back towards New Zealand at this point, and we are approaching the Snares, the nearest of New Zealand's subantarctic islands to the mainland, and one of the smallest as well. The main island is only 4 kilometers in diameter and offers very little shelter, but it's an incredibly dramatic place. We're going to enjoy this incredible wildlife spectacle from the ship.
We are on the subantarctic island of the Snares. This is a crazy exciting place to get to. We're in a sheltered little place at the moment, but out there is the full force of the Southern Ocean. It is full of food and this island is covered in birds. We have thousands of pairs of albatross, bullers, salvins. We've got the endemic penguin you see behind me. This is the Snares crested penguin, found nowhere else in the world. The Snares crested penguin breeds up on the hillsides around here amongst the megaherbs, this really exciting, unique vegetation found on these subantarctic islands, and they're heading up over the slippery rocks and making their way up into the nests behind. This is an untouched part of the world. We can't even land here, it's World Heritage. There's no pests here, so there's no rats, there's no cats, there's no pigs. A lot of the islands had that sort of thing that came with shipwrecks. Here, there are no pests and the birds thrive.
Antarctica is one of the last truly wild places on Earth. The white wilderness has stood and endured for millions of years, its ice holding stories that time cannot erase. But the ice is changing, and our impact on this pristine sanctuary is real. As we leave, we carry a promise to remember, to protect, and to be the voice for this fragile world before it slips away. Thank you, Antarctica, for sharing your secrets and teaching us what truly deserves to be saved.